Hello and welcome to the Pulse podcast. My guest today is Marc Attal, COO of Modulus. Marc, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Louis. Thank you very much for the invitation. Glad to be here and looking forward for this interview.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to learning more about Modulus as well. For our audience that's unfamiliar with Modulus, Marc, could you give a bit of a potted history of the company and also an insight into your own background in casino gaming?
So without any ego, I will start by myself to explain you a little bit the company behind. So I started in this industry back 20 years ago in a small company in Monaco called MIS. At that time, this company acquired a company called Grips, became MIS Group, then was acquired by a company called Atronic, became Atronic System, who was then acquired by a company called GTech, so it became GTech, then decided to have the system in one umbrella called Spiro International, then decided to buy a company in the US called IGT, and then became IGT. So I went through all this process of acquisition. I was actually quite good in terms of changing the business card and logos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would say 6 years ago, I became the distributor of IGT for systems for France and Monaco. And at the same time, I'm also running a company in France called Ludi, where we are also the distributor of IGT for slot machine with a number of other brands, maybe another podcast.
Right.
And actually, during COVID time, we started to have a discussion with IGT in 2020 and show interest on both sides to acquire the rights for the international business for systems of IGT. And in particular for two products at that time called Galaxis and System to Go. And the 17th of December 2020, so nearly 3 years now, was the first day of Modulus, where we started this activity. We acquired the rights of the product. We acquired also the customer base, and we have recruited a number of persons during this time, so which was quite a challenge because everything was shut down. Everyone was at home, and it was quite an interesting time. So Modulus is what is called now those kind of baby COVID, I may say.
So what's the scale of the business? I'm trying to think about the size, and I know that it's gone through obviously various iterations until you're here at this point with Modulus. But and a little bit of how did you go about consolidating your existing customers with that so many transition process that they've been through already, and how would you describe that process?
Okay, so I'm going to start again with the last part of the question. So it's going to be used. So actually, the transition process was something very interesting because a customer will finish on the Friday, which I think was the 14th of December, with an individual hanging up on the Friday evening. The weekend goes on, and the Monday morning, and the guy was at IGT, and on the Monday morning, he can talk to the same individual, same number, but at that time the guy was at Modulus. So for the customer, it was a complete seamless transition.
Okay.
And then for that, I think it was, hopefully, and today I see the customer here, I see it has been hopefully a success, at least they recognize it, but it was very, very smooth for the customers. Today we have about a bit more than 300 casinos in the world using our system, about 30,000 slot machines connected to our system, and about 1,000 table also managed by our system. So quite a global coverage. I think we'll talk about it a bit later. And we've been working for the first 2.5 years building the foundation of the house. So we're not hungry for business. The idea was for us to make sure our customers were happy. We were showing that we could deliver to them support and maintenance, but also make the product evolve. So that was really the idea about this 2.5 years as we are today.
Okay. So you mentioned about the global business there. My understanding from the IGT days was that the system was predominantly Europe centric. How have you been growing? Have you been growing since in global markets, or was there always a global aspect to the company?
Yeah, actually, it was very Europe centric, but also there was quite a big chunk on the other side. So if you look at Europe and Africa, because also we have a significant market share in Africa. Europe and Africa is about 50% of the business.
Okay.
But the other 50% of the business is Latin America and Asia, where we have a strong presence. So imagine the big rocket, the big SpaceX, and then you
Yeah.
have propellers on the side, which are Latin America and Asia. And today, that's where we see the growth coming.
Okay. Whenever I interview people from the kind of the gaming systems side of the business, they all talk about cashless and bonusing and jackpots and compliance, marketing tools, etc. What are the real differences between one system and the next, and what sets Modulus apart?
Okay, that's the tricky question now. So actually, I like to do the analogy with the accounting system. So if you want to buy an accounting system, you can have SAP, you can have a Sage, or you can also have Excel, or even a paper and a pen.
Yeah.
You can still do the accounting of your business. So if you go to any system vendor in the world, everyone will talk to you about accounting, about system, about jackpot, cashless, etc. Then the question is about the depth of functionality you can offer, and also, and we think that's also one of our value. We think more important is about the services.
Okay.
So I had an old boss who was telling me, Mark, the important thing when a customer is buying a system is three things. Number one is that it has to do what it has to do. So make sure that all the processes of the casinos are managed and all the functionalities. Two is Saturday morning, 2 a.m., I have an issue in my casino. You better be on the phone. And three is 5 years from now, if I want a functionality, I want you to be here to develop. And I think today, at least for those three questions, we can answer yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And I'll give you an interesting example is, so we started 2.5 years ago, and we have issued, and maybe you've seen this on the press, we have issued our first box, SMIB for Modulus. It's called the M box, part of the System Connect family. 2.5 years of work to deliver this box. So again, everyone has got a box. Everyone has got a SMIB because you have to interface with the slot machine. What is different here is that we have issued the very first cashless box 25 years ago at the time of grips. So in the box the customer will purchase, it's not only a box, it's 25 years of experience, which means that it will do the job. But B, the way we have organized and built this box, and today with the supply chain changes and with the technology changes, should one part of the box being end of life, we just have to replace this little bit like a Lego part of it. And then we can make this evolve. So we also secure the customer requirement while delivering the functionality that they want.
Okay. You mentioned customers there. I'm thinking, who's the ideal Modulus customer? And you mentioned about being responsive and reacting to customer requirements, requests, and feedback. How kind of unique is that kind of customer journey?
So on this one, I will answer with the story I always say to my customers. I mean, first of all, we're not targeting the Las Vegas Strip casino, so that's definitely not our core customers. When a customer is buying a system, it's like a wedding. So the management has expressed, and there is a need to change the system in an operation. So you made a choice, buy a system. You're going to reorganize your processes, and then it's like then you have to execute. And actually, it's like a wedding. When you get your partner, you're going to change your daily processes because now you're going to be two. And at the beginning, you're very happy, it's honeymoon, etc. But the idea is that in 5 years' time, we're not going to divorce because we forgot our socks in the bathroom. And how do you do that? To do that, you have to, and I'm not doing a psycho for couple, but the idea is that you have to have communication.
Okay.
You have your up and low, your up and down, and you have to make concession on both sides. Okay, in the business, we are the supplier, so we have to make much more concession than the customers. But it's exactly the same. It's like you have to keep the communication running. And what we do with our customers is, provided they're happy to share it with us, we align our strategy on theirs.
Okay.
So a customer is saying, I want to implement marketing. Fine. Why do you want to implement marketing? Do you want to retain your customers because you have more competition? Do you want to increase your knowledge of your customer to offer them the right product? So that's what we do with the customers, being close to them, work with them, and make it evolve. And it was very interesting to see the customer at the beginning when we've done this move between IGT and us, looking at it, etc. And since then, we had partnership built with customers. Some customer says, okay, I want to continue with you, but I want you to work with me to work on my information system, to work on my ecosystem, because there are interfaces with my online, with other things I want to do in my operations, and I want you to be part of it. And they include us into their strategy which is then very interesting because we are here to serve them. If we know what they want, we can even serve them better. And that's what we are trying to do. So for sure, we can't do it with everyone because, it's, you have a limited capacity, but still, that's something we've done. And so far, I think it's a pretty good result.
Excellent. Okay. Well, final question. Won't put you through any more torture of this. What's your near and long term goals for Modulus, Marc? And what have you set yourself in terms of achieving for the business? And the kind of the timescales you're giving yourself.
So actually, the first, we said when we started, we said the first 2.5, 3 years, it was about consolidation of the building the foundation of the house. And when you build the foundation of the house, you see nothing. No one is seeing anything. You see a lot of cranes, a lot of people working, but nothing happens. So it's like, what's going on? But then it's like, the idea is to have robust foundation so we can build the house. And the idea now for the next year is to work on growth. And the way to work on growth is, I mentioned already before, the two propellers of the rocket. So we definitely see Latin America starting again to go back on business. They've been through a very hard time with COVID, and now they're getting out of it now. Asia is booming. You see all the activities going on in the Philippines, and we are in the heart of it right now with our strong partners we have over there.
Okay.
And there are also activities in Europe. So here that we look at organic growth, but at the same time, we also not close our eyes on doing acquisition. So we have also one dossier in working on at the moment where we are looking to potentially purchase a company to create also growth this way. So that's what we are looking into at the moment. And something I forgot to mention before, so maybe I'll take this opportunity now. Part of this growth strategy is that today you see a lot of activity going on around our industry on fintech, on artificial intelligence. And one of the mantra of the company is to be open, simple, and agile, and the customer-centric. So everyone will say you are customer-centric for sure, because that's the business we're in. Hopefully we demonstrate it in a better way. But what is important is the openness and simplicity. We want to deliver best of breed to the customer. So today, if you ask me, are you good in artificial intelligence? I would say no. I don't know artificial intelligence, but there are companies doing this very well. And at G2E, we're going to announce a partnership in that respect. So it will be news to be done. And at ICE, we're also going to announce another partnership on a very specific subject. Hopefully, we're going to be the very first one to do this. So let's stay tuned.
Well, thank you for giving us a heads up. I did love all the analogies, the wedding, the rocket, and the building kind of analogies there as well. Thank you, Marc, for speaking to us, giving us a little bit of background into what Modulus is up to. I look forward to hopefully catching you at G2E and definitely seeing you at ICE. See you soon.
Lewis, thank you very much for your time and listening, and definitely see you in Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you want to watch more, why not subscribe to our channel? Just click here.